Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to completely change how you look at something you probably do every single day, journaling. When most of us think about keeping a daily record, we usually picture something super private, right? Maybe a place to clear our heads, vent about a brutally long meeting, or just jot down our daily to-do lists. But the source material we're digging into today presents a wildly different, massive paradigm. It argues that keeping a daily record isn't just some personal productivity hack, it's actually a hidden global superpower. By the time we finish this explainer, you're going to look at a simple pen and paper as tools for a profound, historical mission.
Okay, let's dive into this by asking the fundamental question our source poses. Why must business leaders, and really intellectuals in general, write diaries? Now, we are absolutely not talking about writing down what time your next meeting is or how much inventory you moved today. No way. We're talking about documenting the gritty realities of human endeavor. According to the text, we've hit a specific era where the actions, decisions, and experiences of leaders are just too important to simply vanish at the end of the workday. They're actually meant to become the very foundation for future generations.
So, what exactly needs to go into this daily record? Well, of course, you log your daily successes and achievements. That's the easy part. But our source places this incredibly heavy emphasis on the uncomfortable stuff. We've got to meticulously record our failures, our setbacks, and most importantly, our contradictions. That means logging the systemic issues and operational flaws we bump into every single day. Why? Because these aren't just personal embarrassments. They are absolutely crucial data points. The struggles a business leader faces today are the exact raw materials needed to diagnose and fix the deeply rooted problems of our modern society.
Section 1. A massive historical shift from the elite to the masses. The sheer scale of this contrast is staggering. For thousands of years, the privilege of education and record-keeping was completely locked away. It was restricted exclusively to the elite classes, like the Yangben in Korea or high-ranking government officials. The common people, the masses, simply never had the conditions to learn. But look at the present day. We are living in an era of unprecedented universal education. Society has poured its collective sweat, resources, and energy into creating a massive new class of modern intellectuals. The fact that you and I can study, learn, and lead businesses is literally a total historical anomaly.
The source traces this democratization of knowledge directly back to a specific catalyst. Pre-1945, there was limited corporate structure and highly restricted learning. But the utter devastation of World War II triggered this profound global rebuilding phase. Post-1945 marks the very first time we saw massive corporate entities and organized societal groups pop up on such a broad scale. From all that ruin, society rebuilt with a brand new focus: universal education. Whole nations dedicated themselves to making sure their children could learn, which effectively birthed the modern era's vast class of educated professionals and business leaders.
To pull this off, the tools we use really matter. As a super fascinating example, our source offers a unique perspective on the Korean alphabet, Hangul, and the Korean language itself. It argues that creating and preserving this highly advanced language wasn't just for basic daily communication. It was essentially a long-term historical preparation. It was designed and destined for this exact moment, to act as the ultimate, most precise tool for documenting humanity's journey, its contradictions, and its eventual solutions. Moving on to Section 2, the source of our power. Where did our knowledge actually come from?
We really like to think of our successes as entirely self-made, don't we? But the data from the source tells a completely different story, and this brilliantly illustrates it. Our knowledge was not generated in a vacuum. Only 5% was generated in isolation. The other 95%, it was overwhelmingly absorbed from the collective efforts of global humanity. The science, the technology, the foundational systems we use every single day to run our businesses, all of it was brought in from the outside. We absorbed it, we developed it, but the roots of this power belong to the entire world.
The text emphasizes this point with deep conviction, stating everything we use belongs to human society. It is not just ours. Just think about the state of the world after the ruin of WW2. Entire nations were reduced to ashes. The fact that any nation was able to rise, rebuild, and gain such immense technological and intellectual power is purely because the global community provided the foundation. Humanity poured its collective advancements into the pool, and we drank from it. Because of this, modern leaders and intellectuals carry a massive, undeniable debt of gratitude to human society.
Which brings us to Section 3, redefining business, moving beyond mere survival.
So the crucial point is, the old mindset of business was purely transactional and survival-based. You make a car or a product simply to sell it, eat, and make a basic living. Well, the source argues we've got to completely break free from that outdated thinking. The new paradigm demands that we use our globally sourced knowledge to design projects that solve humanity's uncompleted homework. Business is no longer just about commerce, it's about addressing the unsolved challenges of the very society that empowered us in the first place.
This leads us right to an entirely new corporate mission. Leaders have to utilize the collective global knowledge they've absorbed to solve humanity's unmet challenges. The whole goal is to return immense value back to human society. And honestly, here's the truly beautiful part of this philosophy. The source states that if you design your business to genuinely benefit humanity, you don't even have to desperately chase profits. Achieving massive organic business growth is going to happen entirely naturally as a byproduct of providing that societal benefit.
And that takes us to Section 4, Opening the Era of Records, our historical duty to the future.
Let's move to Meshi and see how this builds into a mechanical cycle of human progress. Step 1, we use our diaries and logs to record today's contradictions, flaws, and mistakes in our businesses and society. Step 2, we don't just hoard this data. As intellectuals, we organize it, analyze it, and use our acquired knowledge to find true, lasting solutions. And step 3, we leave this synthesized knowledge behind as a complete guide. The ultimate goal here? To prevent future generations from ever having to repeat our pain, our failures, and our societal contradictions. The source strongly declares that because of our unprecedented education, our technology, and our historical position, we have officially entered the era of records. This is the time when intellectuals, business leaders, and everyday professionals absolutely must step up. We're tasked with organizing and documenting our lived experiences, our trials, and our innovations, so they can become the stepping stones for the entirety of human evolution. We aren't just working for a paycheck anymore, folks. We are literally compiling the future's textbook.
Which leaves us with this final, incredibly powerful question to reflect on. When you sit down at your desk tomorrow and you experience a failure, a triumph, or a glaring contradiction in how the world works, what are you going to do? Will you just let it fade into the background, or will you write it down? What will your daily records leave behind for the future of humanity? Grab a pen. Your lived experience is human history just waiting to be written. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.